You know what, boys? I'm feeling really nostalgic. Actually, you know what? No, not boys. Boys and girls, because I do have, I think it's like a 4-5% viewer ratio that is female. But regardless, I feel so nostalgic because I just finished watching a live hockey game and now we're making a recap video. I don't even know how this goes anymore. How do we do these videos? How do we do recap videos? It's been so long. But you know what? Normally for these kinds of videos, we'd go chronologically and we'd start off by talking about all the goals that happened in order, and then we finish off the video by talking about the teams themselves. This video, if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, you're kind of boiling in your blood right now because you want me to talk about one thing. And that one thing is the power play. Here's a joke from my buddy Mr. Booth on Twitter. The Montreal Canadiens' power play strategy is called the Lafreniere. Because the Montreal Canadiens had 6 power play opportunities and they got 2 shorthanded goals against. Bro, no way. You know, I'm feeling really conflicted. And I know the majority of Habs fans that watch my YouTube videos are also feeling the same thing. Because even though this is an exhibition game for what would be the eventual play-in series that lead into the playoffs, because this is a game that really does not matter all too much, it's crazy to me how angry I got seeing how bad the Canadiens' power play was. And that was the consensus that I saw online everywhere too. Everybody was saying, you know, the entire time leading up to today, I don't care if they win. I want them to lose. Let's go Lafreniere. But once the team actually gets out there, and once the team actually starts playing poorly, everybody virtually, it seems, is upset with that. And I just love seeing that, you know? I love seeing the fan base actually showing their true feelings and getting frustrated when this team shows off its incompetence. And that's what we saw here on the power play. This team had 6 power play opportunities and they had 0 power play goals. They couldn't enter the zone for the life of them. Every time they tried to dump it in, they would get clogged up and it would go back out to Carey Price's end. Every time they tried a controlled zone entry, they got shut down. It ended up being like a 1-on-3 every single time a Canadian tried to bring it in. They got closed off. This team was only really able to get his power play going when the faceoff was in the Leafs zone. And after that, I will admit I did see some very good puck movement on the Canadiens' part. Sure, maybe the shot selection could have been improved a little bit. But for the most part, this Canadiens team had many opportunities that they just didn't use. And as a result, they lose the play-in series qualifying game. Oh man, if it's 4-2, I know we didn't talk about the score or anything yet. Now that we've gotten the power play thing out of the way, let's go through our chronological order of this game, because I know there's probably a Leaf fan or two here that's watching this video. This game starts off about 60-ish minutes after the Flyers and the Penguins game wrapped up. That was on the same ice surface just a little bit ago, earlier in the day, and all it took was 35 seconds for Ilya Mikheyev, the guy who came back after what was a season-ending wrist injury, a really scary laceration-looking type thing where the guy's skate blade came up. It was really not good. But he was off the entire year after that. He was looking really hot in the limited time he was with Toronto earlier in 2019-20, and he carried that momentum forward into this play-in series game at the very beginning. It was a nice little feed from Rielly up to Tavares. 35 seconds in, Tavares with a nice cross crease, and Ilya Mikheyev is there getting the first goal for Toronto. Of course, you don't like to see Carey Price get hung out to dry in the first shot of the game, but you know, man, it's tough for me to blame the goalie on that one. Sure, if he saved it, it would have been a 0-0 game, but that's one of the goals where the goalie isn't really able to save that all the time, so I'm not really surprised that he wasn't able to do it. Then the second period, we saw ourselves get the first of 2 shorthanded goals for the Maple Leafs. It was Alex Kerfoot. This one was a weird one. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, the speedster that he is the one who takes the puck from the zone, and he drags it all the way towards the Canadiens' hash marks. He gets a shot off. Kerfoot comes in on the rebound. It goes in and out quickly. He doesn't realize that he scores, and all of a sudden it's 2-0 Toronto, and Canadiens fans I'm seeing on Twitter and Reddit are blowing up. What was that? Why did you guys give up a rush when you have a power play? This team, man, what's going on? And of course, nobody's expecting the Canadiens to play like saints in this one because obviously they were the worst team out of the entire NHL to be included in this return to play format. But still, it feels bad seeing that. Although, it felt a little bit good later on because on the Canadiens' ensuing power play, which actually expired before they ended up getting the goal, it was Nick Suzuki who comes in on the side, he fakes off a little pass towards the net, he kind of goes towards it, and he shoves it right through. He fakes the shot, he goes, moves his stick a little bit more, and he passes it right in front to a wide-open Tomas Tatar, who's just there with an open net to tap it right in. This is Nick Suzuki's forte, and we saw this so frequently that I seriously cannot believe how good Nick Suzuki has looked. Every time this guy had the puck on his stick, he was either drawing a penalty, or he was controlling the puck, or he was sending it to open space where a Canadiens teammate was able to come in and take it away. This guy was so good. His passing, man. The deception. He almost sold the shot so hard that the entire Maple Leafs lineup that was on the ice really fell for it. And that's why the space was opened up for Tomas Tatar to come in there and score. Nick Suzuki could have had like 2 or 3 assists in this period because he was so smart with that puck. And I'm really starting to fall in love with Nick Suzuki all over again, man. It's not even just Nick Suzuki, it's Nick Robertson too on the other side. He gets himself an assist on the second Kerfoot goal. This is a Morgan Rielly slap shot from the point that gets tipped on goal by Kerfoot with like 25 seconds left in the second period. I'm totally a stan for Nick and Nick. Nick Robertson and Nick Suzuki, the two sub 6 feet, half Asian, half Canadians. And of course, that's totally something that I relate with because I am an Asian guy myself. I'm actually raised in Canada, but I wasn't born here. But I do identify as Canadian, so obviously seeing the representation is awesome. And these two guys definitely put on a show here today. But going into the third period, this is where things start off nicely for the Canadiens. It's Paul Byron. He gets himself a really, really nice goal. It's Ben Sherratt who drives one towards the goal. This guy had a crazy good game, honestly. Sherratt was just all over the puck. He took many shots, a few of them had some big juicy rebounds, and Paul Byron is there to calm the puck down, kick it up, and swat it into the net in midair, I believe. So that was really good too, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi gets an assist on that one. Kotkaniemi honestly looked pretty good. This guy was facilitating play down below the goal line, and he was honestly doing some pretty nice passes out there. Set up a lot of guys really nicely, I saw. So, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, man, maybe that AHL stint was unwarranted, but we really did see what was, in my opinion, a pretty solid game from him here today. But the Leafs end up the scoring with another shorthanded goal. It's Zach Hyman who brings it into the zone. He kind of stops up, sends it over to Morgan Rielly. Jonathan Drouin is the trailer here. He's the guy who's back-checking, and he doesn't really do a good job at it because Marner is also on the other side, so he's kind of debating to himself, who does he go for? Does he go for Marner or Morgan Rielly? But eventually, he just doesn't really do anything, and Rielly gets the puck, he shoots it, the rebound comes back out to him, and Carey Price isn't able to stop the rebound. So Morgan Rielly gets his, third point of the game? This guy was on fire for the Maple Leafs, but it really was not a good look for the Canadiens, especially on their power play. And that's pretty much it. Ilya Mikheyev had an opportunity to score at the very end of the game with the empty net, but he ran out of time. He was a good player in this game. The Tavares line looked pretty good. Matthews, Marner, of course, you guys are going to look good pretty much all the time. And for the Canadiens, you know what? Weber stood out to me too. The guy was trying to take so many bombs from the point, and they just weren't really working because they said on the broadcast too, that bomb from the point just doesn't really work as well as it used to in today's NHL because everybody's kind of moving, everybody's always trying to block off lanes, and Weber wasn't really able to get the amount of drives that it looked like he wanted to out there. But Nick Suzuki looked good, Kotkaniemi looked good, Gallagher had a few moments that honestly could just be a little bit more refined as they reviewed this game in their practice session, etc. But man, that's it, right? That's it. That's one exhibition game. The Canadiens lose, and all of a sudden, next up, they're playing for the opportunity to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs. For the Maple Leafs, you guys looked great. This team looked pretty good out there, and the goals that Frederik Andersen allowed were honestly not really all too savable. The Byron off the skate, off the glove, into the net, and the Tomas Tatar really good cross-crease pass, threading the needle by Nick Suzuki. You can't really fault Frederik Andersen for that, and you can't really fault Carey Price for the stuff that he had to deal with too. Tip-ins, big rebounds, the defense not really covering for him. Obviously, we noted the 2 short-handed goals against. Those weren't really Carey Price's fault. Those were all just a product of the Canadiens just kind of hanging Carey Price out to dry, in my opinion. And even though the Canadiens lost, I still see Canadiens fans all upset. Because even though they're all saying, you know, I want Lafreniere, I want this team to lose, they still get as livid as I would when they watch this team do bad things. And now, all of a sudden, it's just a matter of seeing if they can improve that for the Pittsburgh series. We will see that on Saturday, I believe. But man, it's been so long. Canadiens hockey in July. Who would have thought? I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below what you thought about the Canadiens and the Leafs game. So, Trolls 99. And bye.